What is up, YouTube? And today I want to talk about two huge problems that Epic 7 is currently facing that we didn't really have a huge problem for in the past, but with the recent changes to the game and how fast the pacing is, this has become a very apparent problem within the current state of Epic 7. The two main things that we're going to be talking about both have to do with unit building, and I think the biggest problem with the state of the game currently is that the banners are releasing super quickly. So we had Kayn running right now. We have most likely limiteds and collabs and even a triple banner in the near future coming out. And we also had Haste last week, who was very good for Rift, so a lot of people pulled on them. And we also have, if we see here, a ton of limiteds that released in the couple past months. So in the past like 2 to 3 months, we had Landy, Ocean Breeze Luca, we had Lethe, we had Midnight Gala Lilius. And Ocean Breeze Luca and Lethe really wanted you to pull for dupes for because of how their side story worked with extra currency and farming and easier ways to clear the boss, which was a huge fiasco that is finally over, but still it had a lasting effect on my account at least. You can see like I have this artifact maxed out, I have another copy, I have Luca at SSS, Lethe at A, right? So I have her artifact at almost maxed, right? So I had a lot of summons put into that. And then we also had Midnight Gala Lilius, who was very waifu, so everyone pulled for. And then we also had the Landy banner, and we also had the first limited Moonlight hero in Navy Captain Landy, who is one of the best units in the game for PvP right now, and I pulled for dupes. So you can see I wasted a ton of bookmarks in the current past months, and I didn't even have to pull for Landy, right? Like I skipped on Landy, I skipped on Tamarin, I skipped on Rwana. So if you're new to the game, I can't imagine how many bookmarks you actually use. If you look here, I have 2 bookmarks left with 400 Sky Stones, and we have a collab and just new things coming around the corner that I'm definitely not prepared for. Yeah, and if you look here, right, like the banners that we just had are crazy. We had Tamarin, who is extremely good for PvE. We had Nogwell, which is very good for PvP. Midnight Gala Lilius, who is a limited unit, so basically back to back kind of banners that you want to pull for. We had Brieg, one of the best PvE tanks in the game. We have Rwana and Crow, very powerful PvE units and PvP units, right? They're pretty much a must-have for any account. We had a collab in ReZero. We had the Guilty Gear collab as well. We had Landy, we had Lethe, we had Ocean Breeze Luca. So you can see what I'm talking about, where ever since July, we just had back to back. So literally 3-4 months in a row of just constant non-stop banners with units you definitely need to have or want to have. So no way that anyone right now is just chilling on their account saying, yeah, it was fine, I have a ton of bookmarks left, I'm ready for anything. I think everyone is very hurting on bookmarks. We even have Destina running currently with Kayn, who is one of the best soul weavers in the game for PvP. So you can kind of see what I'm talking about with how they're pacing things. I feel like they should definitely give us an easier way to get bookmarks, and they're really not actually doing that. Also, because they're kind of trying to make everyone farm Rift. If you guys didn't know, Rift is actually the best way to farm gear, is you can one-shot the boss at like Rift Controller 15-ish. Yeah, they're trying to push for people to farm Rift because it is the best way to farm gear if you one-shot it, like I mentioned. But you can see it doesn't drop bookmarks or mystics, and hunts actually do. And actually, if you guys don't really pay attention too much, you might not notice, but hunts actually give you a pretty good source of bookmarks, mystics, and also powder. So these 3 are very important resources that you're not getting from Rift, and I'm really starting to feel it even more because I'm farming pretty much exclusively Rift nowadays, so it kind of really hurts my bookmark collection, my Mystic Metal collection even more. I'm not sure how they should tackle this. Honestly, they could give us more bookmarks and Mystic Metals over time. I think that's what they should do, honestly, maybe just like a little bit more, because in the past, this definitely wasn't an issue. I never really felt like I was pinched on bookmarks or Mystic Metals, even without spending any money at all during that time frame. But nowadays, I feel like I'm just way too overwhelmed with these units. So many artifacts that need to be maxed out as well. So many limiteds, right, that I want to buy. So it just makes it very difficult for me to actually, pull for units that I want to without fearing out that I might miss out on something in the future. And that also compounds with the second issue, which I want to talk about. Because we have so many units being released, you're actually going to see that even though I have these units pulled, you're going to see I don't have them really built, right? Midnight Gala Lilius, I had her on the Grace of Growth, but I didn't really have her built all the way, as you guys can see, because same with Lethe, because of one thing, and that is going to be Molagora. So right now, I don't really have that much Mola, and these DPS units, Midnight Gala Lilius, even like Abyssal Euphine with the new ML 5-star, you can't really max them out, or you can't really use them without maxing them out, and maxing them out is very expensive, right? If you want to max out a 5-star hero, you're going to see that it'll cost you about 33 Molagora, I believe, 11 for skill 1, 11 for skill 2, 11 for skill 3 if they're all equal. And that's just so much. You guys can see I have 26, so I don't even have enough to max one unit. And if they do decide to like run a random collab or a random like limited banner with a very OP unit, then I really want to have Molagora saved up. I think most people like to have enough Molagora saved up to fully enhance one unit, about 33-ish, in case a super broken unit comes out, and that's the situation I'm in. So I can't even, use my Midnight Lilius because I can't even max it out right now, even if I wanted to. Even for the current banner for Rift, featuring one of the best units in the game for Rift, probably the best, Kayn. I can't even use him because you want to max out all his skills besides his S2, I guess, and I just don't have the Molagora for it. And you're probably wondering, what about my Grace of Growth? Well, my Grace of Growth is on Surin, who's also very good for Rift, and I don't really want to build her normally because, yeah, you can't really use her anywhere else outside of Rift. So I really feel like we definitely need more Mola in this game as well, or at least give us like two Graces of Growths, because right now the current Rift meta with Haste, Surin, and Kayn, all of those units are not used anywhere but Rift, so it just feels really bad investing into them. So I definitely think Smilegate should definitely, have like a solution or fix for this. Currently, we don't get that many Molagora a month. I think it is higher than in the past, but when you compare it to how more frequently they are releasing new units and running limiteds and even collabs, especially for newer players and even for me, a veteran, it's really hard for me to keep up with these skill enhances. So I really feel like they should definitely do something. You're going to see I have so many units on this account that aren't even completed that shouldn't be. Like Edward Elric, very powerful debuff counter, not even maxed out because I don't want to spend the Molagora. If we just like keep scrolling down, you'll see like my Shu, who has, pretty high potential in Guild Wars defense, not even maxed out because don't have the Molagora. Karina, who I use all the time in RTA and Guild Wars, I barely have any investment into her because I just cannot afford to Molagora her right now, because honestly she works with just her artifact, where other units really need like skill enhancers on their skills that deal damage, right? There's just like a ton of cases where I just don't have enough Molagora to max stuff out. Like even my Zahak, he's like on a poverty skill enhanced build because, yeah, maybe I do have units maxed out, like invested into, that aren't really good. For example, Giselle. But I feel like if you're going to limit people to the point where they can only max out very strong units, it kind of defeats the purpose of this game, because there's so many beautiful units in this game with great designs that people always want to test out, right? For example, Abyssal Euphine might not be the best ML 5-star in the meta, but people will invest into her because she's very strong. And yeah, it's just a very painful thing to do because, yeah, you're just missing out on a lot of molas, you're not going to be able to get the full potential, and when you do play in PvP and you find yourself missing out on killing a unit, for example with this ML Bologna S1 by like 100 HP, you're going to be very tilted. It's happened to me so many more times than you'd imagine. But I really hope that they do decide to combat the system. I think for summons, maybe slow down the pacing or even give out more bookmarks and mystic medals. I think even having like 2 banners between the mystic summons, like for new units releasing, what might be fine as well, because at the current pace you can't even pity all these. Like even if you spend like a sum of money, you have to spend like a decent amount of money to be able to back-to-back pity, or you have to get very, very lucky and get them early. So I can't even pull for Abyssal Euphine. You can see I have 91 summons left. I'm pretty much drained of everything. And for Covenants, same thing, right? I can't even pull for like Kayn and stuff because Molagoras, and honestly bookmarks are an issue as well. So I think for the summons, they should definitely maybe give us more summons, maybe be more generous with Sky Stones. Not too sure. What do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comments down below. But for Molagora, I think what they should do is probably add another Grace of Growth at the very least, and definitely give us a way to refund Molagoras. So Molagoras definitely need to be able to be refunded, because if they do decide to change a unit, or they do decide to like release a unit that directly counters a unit and makes them not good anymore, all that investment is pretty much useless. For example, if we look at one of the most powerful units in the past, like SSB from a long time ago, PvP she's not really usable anymore, and because of that, like my plus 15 SSB pretty much is a Wyvern 13 slave, but because I'm farming Rift now, I don't use her at all, and I have 33 Molagora invested into her. Same thing with units like Alencia. Alencia's not really seen too much anymore, and she used to be very powerful, not so much anymore in the current meta with like Ilyanov and also ML Shu, and all this investment is just kind of wasted, right? There's so many units like that, even like Green Charles if you played for a long time, right? Even units like Green Violet, who used to be one of the best units in the game, not really seen as much. There's so many units, like even Apoc Ravi to an extent, not as used as frequently anymore. So what I think they should really do is give us a way to refund a unit every month, whether it be once a month, twice a month, just some way to refund our investment, because the meta is always shifting and we can't predict what units they'll release in the future and make other units completely useless. So yeah, kind of sad that they don't have a system in place yet, but I really hope they do give us a Molagora reset system. Yeah, those are my thoughts on the state of the game. Let me know what you guys think about what I've just said. I think, just to summarize, giving us more summons or spacing out the banners a little bit more, and for Molagoras, just giving us, you know, a reset system with like Grace of Growth, like an extra slot for it, or even maybe like reduce the cost of Molagora. Like for example, the cost for Molagoras are so high, like for one unit to be 33 Molagoras, insane honestly. If they reduced it to like 23 or 25, or just buy like a couple and refunded everyone back for, you know, the ones we invested already, I think that'd be a good change for players old and new. So yeah, let me know what you guys think down below. And as always, if you guys enjoyed this video, let me know in the comments, and also hit that like button, and I'll see you guys next video.